Good morning, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. I don't really have a lot of new information. We're going to kind of recap the information we went over prior to or the week before spring break. So hope everyone had a great spring break, and I'm going to go ahead and get started. And the first thing we want to talk about is the ASR. Just a reminder, it's already opened and it will close on July 1st. State Aid has asked that y'all start checking your calendars to verify that they're correct. Please check professional parent-teacher days, parent-teacher conference days, and make sure they're reporting correctly. It's also a good idea to check your student view and make sure transportation is being reported correctly. I know in the past we'd have had issues with transportation being reported correctly. Find missing students. Check that too, because I know that if you have validation issues outstanding, that can cause some of the students you need to be reported to show up under missing students. So those issues need to be resolved. We also, it's new to the ASR, we have an alt ed view where you can make a note, and that note will actually email the state aid department automatically. Or if you need to reach out to them, you can contact them at stateaid@sde.ok.gov, or you can call Lori directly at 405-522-0139 or Mitzi at 405-522-0120. Lori, you had mentioned you had some stuff you wanted to talk about.
I think I have a few things. So our main number, which is 521-3460, the phones do not work for whatever reason. Frustrating. You'll have to leave a message and someone will get back to you if you do call that number. The note section, there's a note tab. It's not under the alternative ed student view. It's under a note tab. So if you go in there, you can see where we've wrote notes, where we've sent emails. Most of the time, I'm going to say that the emails are sent to the superintendent. I've been trying to send it to the people who contacted us on the FQSR, and we have their email in the note section. There's sometimes that happens, or if we just happen to know who the person is who takes care of it at the district, we try to include them, but not always, because it's really hard to go through 540 districts and do 15,000 other things at the same time. I mean, you guys understand that. You do it all the time. So if you want to make a note there, that note will come to the state aid email and someone can get back to you that way. We are sending emails out to the districts where we've noticed something's wrong with the calendar, like no PT days, only one PT day, no professional days. Sometimes the first instructional day is different, which throws off your enrollment for your kids because their first enrollment date is something else. So sometimes we catch that. We look to see if the transportation is being reported. So those are the things that we're looking at right now. Sometimes we catch other things just because we're in there. So we'll send that email, and if you guys can get that taken care of and check a couple of days later to make sure that the updates came through, and just don't come back and say, please don't ask us to go and look, because we're still in the process of going through all the districts. I think Mitzi is on county 46 coming from the top, and I am on 65 coming from the bottom, a little behind her. So if we can get everybody in between there, we can at least get that part taken care of. But we really need your assistance if you make a change to go and check if it came through. If it didn't come through, then please respond to us or call us and let us know, and we can look and see what the problem is.
Thanks, Lori.
Thanks.
Next thing is on the ASR, you're going to see your exit code and exit dates on students that have left the district, or for some reason they unenrolled in one thing and enrolled back in another. Please check those and make sure that you're using the valid codes that are for what transpired, because that does affect accountability reporting. And it's very important that they're correct. So these are an example of codes that we've kind of broken them down. If they've moved out of state, if they've gone to a private school out of state, a private school in state, outside the country, into an institution, homeschool, or if they're public in-state transfers, there's several that you have to choose from. Just make sure it's applicable to what happened with a student. If they've just exited, mainly we use that in circumstances where it's the end of school year is the main thing. But if they're going from like a virtual setting to a brick and mortar or vice versa, you would use that as your exit code. If they've graduated, you're always going to use 1921. If they passed away, 1923. And for illness, it's going to be 1924. Accountability has asked that we make sure that your grades that you've entered are mapped so they're sent to the state. They will be reaching out to the districts that they're not receiving that data. And right now they're looking for the first semester grades. So if you get a call from accountability, it probably has to do with that. Make sure you're working your STNs, and as you know, they're going to contribute to missing students on your ASR. Also, we're finding that, you know, there is a state assistant portion in this STN Wizard, and we're getting messages like that's the right STN to use. You can resolve it. If it's an existing STN and you think it's the right one, you can go ahead and resolve that issue. I mean, you don't have to send it to us to do that. You're able to make that, you know, resolve that issue yourself. So just FYI, because we are getting messages from some districts that say, this is the right STN, you know, go ahead and resolve. I mean, that is, you're able to do that. Just wanted to make that clear. Ownership Wizard. If there's conflicts with other districts, they need to be resolved for your students to be counted in the FQSR. And, you know, so just make sure that if you're looking and missing students, or you see an ownership issue in your ownership wizard, please be sure that you're resolving those. We have several that are out there that need to be resolved. If you're having problems, be sure reaching out to the conflicting district. And if you're not seeing that resolved, then you're going to want to reach out to the RAOs to help you with assistance in getting that resolved. We still have quite a few validation errors. And like I said before, those do affect your missing students. Like if a race is not populated or date of birth, those kind of things definitely do affect the students in there. So I would ask again, please make sure that you're working those. If you need assistance, you can always email us at the student data info@sde.ok.gov, and we will be more than happy to work with you on getting those resolved. And also, I mentioned the student demographics can help affect students not showing up on your reports as well. So again, new wave accounts. If you've got new employees joining your district and they need to have access to the wave, it does take about 24 hours for that access to show up, and your superintendent will have to provide the access in SSO for that person before that person requests access from OMES, the help desk. So once they have been provided the access, if they'll contact the service desk at omes.ok.gov and just request a affiliate's login for that. And as always, you can email us at studentdatainfo@sde.ok.gov, and we have reference material on the SDE website at Student Information Documents and Guidance. We just might mention very quickly, we're going to be providing the updated wave requirements documents and our codes framework code set, and also the mapping guidelines for the waive requirements documents. And we are going to post that in PDF form. So, I mean, if the Airtable is not a friend of yours, you might be excited to know it will be out in PDF pretty soon. So that's all I have right now. I do see we have quite a few things in the chat. So I'll go to the first one, and it's Dina Rogers wanting to know about concerns pulling in the 2021 alt ed information. She was planning on emailing Lori and including me and Eric. Are those appropriate people to notify?
Missy Korn is the alt ed person. MISSY.CORN, Missy Korn. I'll
Okay,
put her name.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'll put her name in there. But honestly, as long as so on the ASR, the alt ed and Lori will be able to explain this a whole lot better than I am.
Okay.
I can. But on the ASR, there's an alt ed list, and that is what, Lori, correct me if I'm wrong, they're using for funding for alt ed.
Well, my person that's over that in the district, we gave him waive access so he could get in and look himself and verify. And I have not read the email because he just sent it to me yesterday, but he's noticing the same issue that we had from 2021, which is any kids that have gone back to the building aren't showing into that ASR report. So like if they started the year in alt ed, it's not counting because it's only looking at the most current enrollment. So that's what I didn't know. I didn't know if that was a OMES technology thing, because I think it has to do with the data pull, because when they go back into the building at the end of the year, that's not an alternative program. So I can't mark it as alternative. Or if they've ever been alternative, do I need to leave them marked alternative for the whole year? Like that's what I don't know.
Okay, can he send us an example of one of the
Yeah,
kids? that he's talking
I
about?
have them and I
Okay.
have them and I'll send them. I just want to make sure because I don't know. I don't know if it's a technological issue or if it's, I just want to make sure. I'm going to look at it and I'll send
Lori,
it.
Lori, this was exactly,
right.
she's explaining exactly what my concern was earlier.
Okay, so this is what's going on. I have not heard this yet from anybody else, but it is really early. This is March. So this is something that's not, we've tried looking at some of those. I did just yesterday afternoon get a list of what is being sent that I was going to compare.
Okay.
Try to do some kind of comparison to last year to see if we're on track, or at least to notify the districts like, hey, we see something seems to be off, but we need your assistance to know who these kids are. But if I can have examples or whatever, maybe I can go in and figure out something on this. It will be something that someone, Eric or I will have to take care of, not Missy.
I think I really do think it's the way that it's written to pull the information, because for I see it's only looking at the most recent enrollment. So it's not picking up.
I understand what you're saying, Dina.
Okay.
So here's what I'm going to say.
Okay.
We have two different things going on here for the alt ed
Okay.
status. We've got whatever you're sending us, of course.
Okay.
We get that. But last spring, and we meant to start it last fall because of this alt ed ADM calculation thing that we have to do now.
Right.
But because of COVID, we didn't get it in place before in the fall. So in the spring last year, we started a transactional data store that tracked just alt ed statuses. So what happened is what the logic is on this, and you guys are benefiting because you're here. The logic on that TDS is this: if you send us an enrollment record that says, a student personal record today, if the first time we see it, or at the first of the year, we saw that Eric Friend was an alt ed student in Moore on the first day of school. But in November, Eric left the alt ed program and moved over to back over to your building, back over to Southmore High School or whatever. And you changed that alt ed status. We captured the date, the first date that we saw alt ed equals yes. And then we also captured the first date that it said no. So we have a date to date comparison of when you said yes and then no. So we have a link. We have captured in a TDS all the days that answer was yes.
But we
And
did
then-
not get payment. But the kid that you're describing, Eric Friend, was not in the report from 2021, and we did not get funding for Eric Friend. And there were like 14 or 15 Eric Friends.
Last year,
Okay,
we didn't use that TDS because we
Okay.
didn't start it early enough. We
got it.
had to move to a different way to calculate alt ed benefits. This year was the year we were going to use that alt ed thing, but I don't know that they hooked that up. So that's why
Okay.
that's why I need to have that conversation with Lori and Kyle offline.
Okay, and I
Um,
will send you what Mr. Martin sent me. And then you just let me know what else you need, because he's got, like I said, I haven't looked at it, but he did pull all the data and sent me kid names yesterday.
Yep. And
Yeah,
I think that we have the data. I just think that we need to utilize the data that we've been collecting for a particular reason.
Okay,
what I would like to see is a kid who, this is the type of example I need.
Okay.
Because I've been out there looking at your stuff and
okay,
I'm clicking on every student and it's just not working out for me.
okay.
I need a student who started alternative ed, went back to regular, went back to alternative ed, one who was in and out, or, vice versa, how they did it, because I'm not finding one. I'm clicking on them, but I'm just not finding one. Looks like most of them are there all year.
I wonder if that's because you're only seeing the ones that are currently enrolled, but I'll get some better, I have a list from him, but I'll pull some information that shows you start and end dates, is what I think I'm hearing you say, and I will get that to you.
Right, because I see the ones that left that graduated. I'm seeing this.
And we
And
got
I'm
paid.
seeing, and I'm seeing the ones who exited and then came back the very next day for whatever reason.
Right,
I see those. I've seen that example, but I'm
Okay.
still clicking. So if you would give me one that's did the in and out, I
Absolutely.
could look.
absolutely. I appreciate it.
All right. So
Okay,
we're going to
I'm
move
gonna-
on we'll move on from alt ed. Eileen asked earlier about ASR changes, and I think we've covered that. But so if we get SIF events, Eileen, we should see those, those values update overnight. If we don't get the SIF event, then you won't see it update overnight. It'll be on the next request schedule where we request that data. So I hope that explains it for you.
It does. I'm sorry. I think last year there was like a schedule for the ASR report itself to update. So like if you got the SIF changes at 6 p.m. on a Thursday, maybe the ASR wouldn't update until the next morning, something like that.
It's the same logic. So if we request, so when we request, so on that schedule, when we request on a Tuesday, we're requesting at 6 a.m. on a Tuesday. So whenever you fill that, it won't actually hit until Wednesday morning. So when you
right.
guys
Because does the ASR update at night then?
the ASR updates overnight, yes.
Got it. I get it. Thank you so much.
You're
And
so
I think if we're talking about calendar data, isn't calendar data done on Tuesday and Thursday and the weekend? I've got to get that back into my head, but I'd have to pull up the schedule. Okay, yeah, it's not, I have to remember, relearn that every single period.
I thought calendars were requested every day.
No,
No,
they're not.
Oh,
Well, anyways, if you make one right now, I can make a request for it, but don't, Eric will cut me off real soon whenever it starts getting crazy, probably May time. So if you need that done now, we can probably do it.
Right now, we don't mind deleting and re-requesting all the data in when it's not every single district asking for it all at the same time. But that really kills our system when we try to start doing it for the entire state. So if you guys have some requests, if you want to fix calendars or fix students or whatever and say, screw it, just delete everything and re-request everything, we can do it. We can do that now. But if you wait until mid-May, that option probably will not be available. So that's what she's really talking about. And Joe brought up the idea of adding exit codes and exit dates to the downloadable Excel report. I'm going to work with a developer and see if we can't get that done. I don't know if we can or not. I will try. Okay, what's the open transfer application? I think I answered that, but we're waiting on a couple more. We got to wait on website updates, and that has finally been approved. We're just waiting on the guy to work on it. So as soon as he's finished doing those website updates, the form is ready to go. All we got to do is hit go and release it. So everything else is ready to go. It's just waiting on the website updates to make sure that we're not leaving our student data or parent data vulnerable to bad actors. Don't want to do that.
Lauren Santos is the next one.
Lauren Santos. Okay, yeah, same thing with alt ed. We'll work something out on that. Chris, accountability. All right, so yes, in accountability reporting, you can now see PEBT days and dollar amounts for 22 and 21. Fiscal years 22 and 21. For fiscal, so they're still working on that. Yes, we're getting closer and closer and closer every day, but we're not there yet. So don't believe those dollar amounts. Don't believe those days yet. So they're still trying to do some things, but they wanted to put that out there for me to see it and kind of you guys can start seeing what it's going to kind of look like and get familiar with it. But don't start using that data yet. You're not verifying that data yet. We'll put out a big blast saying, okay, now go look at it and verify that it's accurate and correct. Okay. But we are getting closer and closer. I think we're getting actually really close. Our child nutrition office is absolutely going crazy. DHS is going crazy. So trust me, we understand. And I don't know if we'll do summer 2022 benefits, but we'll see. Alt-Ed fee looked good. Good. All right. Broken arrows. Alt-Ed's doing good. That's nice. But I'm going to confirm the ACE PTPOAs are excluded since we report those each quarter, correct? I'm not sure on the business rule on that. Well, Lori is, and she's already taking care of that. Any other questions before we let y'all off here?
Hey, Eric, this is Mitzi. Just a quick back to the request schedule. Is the request schedule on your website on the wave? Is it correct? Because it says calendars are requested every day except Friday.
It is,
there
but
you
they
go.
are. I'm looking right now. They're being requested every day.
Okay, sorry. Thank you. Thank you. Just wanted to clarify.
Yep, every day except for Friday. Whatever that request schedule said, that's what we put in place. All right, guys. Sorry, Nancy, go ahead.
That's okay. If there's no more questions, we're going to go ahead and end the call, and thank you for joining, and talk to you next week.
Okay, thanks, guys.